Alright boys, we got Peggy running. New fuel shut-off solenoid. She runs. Alright, so as you guys saw, we found the Peggy issue. She runs, starts up and everything, which is great. The only thing, make sure I turn the key off. Okay. So there's a little bit of fuel or air in the lines, not a big deal, but it runs and everything's good. So I took the other solenoid and put it over on Josh's truck. It worked perfectly fine, right? Well, then we get to the point now, this solenoid's back to not holding. So what I've also found is when I take that off and I let it just sit here neutrally and I code crank the key and everything, it pulls back and everything and stays on. So what I'm thinking is there's a bind somewhere in the lever, the solenoid, so the solenoid's not physically able to pull that up. So I think there's an issue there. We are working on getting this hose replaced. You can see the coolant line that goes right there. Unfortunately, these clamps are not good. I can pull them right off, so those are bad. We're putting on the second valve cover. He went and bought another one of these. So these things are great. Don't sleep on these things. That tappet cover is such a piss poor design, and that's another reason that these 12 valves leak oil. So I'm hoping one day we can pull this motor and like do all the oil leaks. He just hasn't approved me to do it, and obviously it's going to be a ton of work. I'd rather pull the entire engine and do everything on a stand, but again, not something we're going to do for a long time. So we're going through and doing all the little odds and ends and whatnot. Anything Josh has done, I have gone over and fixed myself. We're going to get this valve cover on, get these coolant leaks fixed, and then we're going to be filling the cooling system with actual coolant, since it does not mix coolant and oil anymore. Alright, if you're going to be getting one of these for your truck, you got to take the injector lines off to put that second one on a second gen. That shit does not clear. Alright, so we got all that off, and I had to pull the injection lines, pull all of this, everything. It fits, but barely. So any of you second gen guys, it does fit, just very, very barely. Mind you, this wasn't something that needed done. We're going through and flushing the cooling system now, just to get all the water out, because he was just running water for the summer, but now that it's getting cold, we're going to run coolant and do it correctly. Alright, so we got her fired up. I had to take the solenoid back off. This solenoid he got is in fact defective. I tried it on his, and unfortunately the hold stopped working again on this one. Even on the jump pack, the hold stopped working. So the other thing I found out is we took the solenoid off of his and put it on this one, and it works great. So this truck is fixed 100% on the solenoid side. Josh's truck, we're finding out the arm where it shuts on and off, there is a little bit of a drag on it that's not allowing it to pull it the whole way up. So even with that solenoid on there that works great, it's not working on Josh's. I've tried multiple solenoids and none of them will pull the whole way up, even when properly adjusted. So there's what we're dumping out. We're gonna get some good clean coolant in there for the first time this year, now that he has no head gasket troubles. And then we're gonna start pulling the rear, start working on that. So I'm gonna try to get this thing warmed up, get that thermostat open. Trying to keep the RPMs up. It's not doing so well. Just gonna have to sit here, hold it up myself. One reason I do like the common rails is that you can just hit cruise control and set, and then it idles up for you. Alright, it's been about 15-20 minutes. I turned the defroster on to kind of put like a little bit of a load on it. We'll see if anything comes out of there. Trying to get all the air out, but Josh said this truck, even with the 195 thermostat, it never gets above around that first line. He said if it ever gets to 190, there's a problem. So I don't know if that gauge is just inaccurate or what. Now she's got good clean coolant in it. I'm gonna try to catch whatever's left of this. That makes this part done. Now we got to start with the rear. He does have the plungers on order, but unfortunately we can't do anything with them now because they're on back order. So we're just gonna throw everything back together, put the cap back on. These guys here, I made a post about those. If you guys are trying to make big power, or if you just want a good reliable truck that doesn't leak oil, if you're gonna keep a truck stock, run one of these with a billet tappet cover, never have an oil leak again. Or if you're gonna make big power, get two of these little bad boys, these little turrets up here. They're a tight fit on a 2nd gen truck. On the 3rd gens, they clear a lot more, but keep in mind that tappet cover is such a bad design. And even in 03 up, they moved everything. Here's an 03, for example. It's all in the valve cover. All right, so I did a thing, right? So this is the solenoid that was defective, junk. This was the solenoid that Josh put on a while ago that he couldn't adjust properly and then ended up snapping it. So what I did was I took the old shitty solenoid, threw it away. I took his old shitty rod, threw it away. And then I took the other two, so the good solenoid top and the good solenoid bottom. Watch this shit. And I adjusted it, so look at that. Look at that shit. All right. There we go. Unfortunately, he won't be able to send back the cheap solenoid, but he gets to keep the expensive solenoid. So these I'm going to throw in scrap. What was the old zip tie they used? I'm going to let him know. Yeah, his truck runs and he wanted, this is what he came in here with, right? This thing here. He wanted me to do it, and I was almost tempted to do it. But I'm like, let's try like a genuinely like new good solenoid and see what happens. And it's working for now. We'll run it, see what happens. If this one stops being weird too, like this one was an expensive one, like XDP I believe. So if this one stops working, then we do know that there's something wrong with the pump. But I'm gonna leave it as is, chalk that up as a win, close the hood, we're done under here, 100%. All right, so we found the correct one. I found the correct one. It is a 1410 U-joint. Appreciate you, Joe, for the comment on how these go up. I was just going by the straps. I'm not a U-joint expert. But some digging and some common sense. These caps are the same one as on there, but this U-joint is a lot smaller, so you can wiggle it side to side. So we measured between here. That's correct. It's 4 3/16. And then it is I think it was like 1 3/16 end caps. So we found the right stuff. We got a seal coming. Everything should be in by Wednesday. I'm going to let Josh know so we can get the correct one of these. I don't know what this is for. I'm going to try to see if he can get his money back on it, clean it up. If not, not a big deal. I really don't know what U-joint size this is, but it is what it is. So that's not the right U-joint for the U-joints on the axles. So, a lot smaller. We got the seal for comparison. This is one that he ordered, and that whole thing kind of like crushes the shit out of it. You can see how it like indents and everything. So, not correct. I am going to do my due diligence and just go and get the parts from my parts supplier. Because every time I do that, I never have an issue. Alright, boys, we got all the parts finally. We got gear oil. We have the seal. And we have the new yoke for Josh's truck. So we are going to go and get that installed. Running a little late today, but it is what it is. All right, we got to go get the wheels and tires first for the plow truck, but then we're going to go install these. And then Bertha I just went and got all the maintenance stuff, the oil change, fuel filter, all that stuff. We're gonna change the transfer case fluid and all that shit while we're in there, but we're not doing that today. So we're gonna get a couple of customer stuff done and call it a day. All right, so we are back with parts. We got a Spicer seal. I got this from My Parts Guys, not the internet, My Parts Guys. And we have the yoke over here. So hopefully this is the right part. I have yet to open it. Before I do that, we also have gear oil and shit. I'm not doing this today, but I have to do an oil change and fuel filter on the Bertha, all right? So with that being said, I remember I was kind of saying, hey, this is a Walmart brand oil a while back. So I've been running this stuff. I do my oil changes and fuel filters at 10,000 miles. I've been doing that forever. When I was running Hotshot, I ran about 10,000 miles. And this stuff, Mobile Delvac, it's really, really cheap. And I'm doing an experiment now. And if it fails, it's a bad experiment because these engines aren't cheap. But I've been running that because you guys told me that it was a decent oil. So I've been running it in Bertha. We're about to cross the 10,000 mile mark. So we're going to get that dumped in another video. I'm not doing it today, like I said. But we're going to see how that oil turned out. Maybe we do an oil analysis, maybe we don't. But we'll see if that's good oil. Like I said, I mean, I've always changed my oil at 10,000 and never had an issue. I used to run T6 Rotella in my common rails. I then ran T4 Rotella in my 12 valves. And either or, never had a problem. Loved my Rotella, but that stuff is way cheaper, and you guys said it was good. So we're going to run it. We also got, again, another video, but we got the tires back mounted. So we're going to get those thrown on. We've been draining the gear oil since, well, basically since, you know, I got it. But I'm going to get this installed, and then we're finally able to drive this truck. So the only thing we won't have done to it is the pump modifications, but it is at 24 degrees timing. So I'm going to drive it and drop this off personally. To all the guys who said his truck needs new batteries, it started and it's been in here a while. We got the seal in. I'm gonna put it, it's up in the air. I'm gonna try. All right, she's moving. Well, that's a good sign. I don't see any leaks yet. So we're gonna shut her off and then get her off the jack stands and start backing her out. I really hope this doesn't leak because this is like my last stitch. It's got a brand new spicer seal and brand new, everything's brand new. So I don't know at this point. If it leaks again, I don't know. All right, guys, show you. I even let the grid heater do its thing. See that little wait to start light? He doesn't need batteries. Look how quick that fired up. I hate when people try to diagnose things on the internet and they're just like, yup, it needs that. All right. Truck came in, 24 degrees of timing. I'll show you here. I put a new fuel solenoid on it, rewired it all. Look at all that nice. We adjusted it. Everything works here with the wire harness. Everything's all nice. We got the secondary breather. And let's see, we pulled out. I don't see any leaks. That's a good sign. So we're gonna pull Bertha in. I'll get you guys a video tomorrow. We actually have multiple videos coming. So you guys will get to see all that. But I'm gonna try to be consistent with some of these uploads and whatnot. So I'm gonna get a dry video for this. We gotta get this pulled in, pull that back in, get rid of these tires real quick, and clean up Josh's mess. The only thing, keep in mind, Josh's truck does leak a lot of oil, all right? Now, also keep in mind, he does not want me to fix it because obviously that all costs money. This is an oil leak from Josh's truck, and this is an oil leak from Josh's truck. So just keep that in mind. It's the only thing we got to do. And this was all rear diff fluid. So I'm going to get all of this cleaned up. I hate that shit on my floor. We're also going to be getting new tires for Bertha too. You can see these things are kind of bald, and I do have some traction issues. I'm trying to find a good set of street tires. I was going to do boggers, but I'm just kind of like, you know what? This truck does do a lot of highway, and now that I've fixed the issue with it rubbing, you guys will see in there, we pounded all that back in. We'll probably do a little bit more clearancing. Probably just take out this whole lip, put like a nice paint line on there. My dad's good at doing that. But you can see we got some cords showing on the sides, so we are going to get some nice new tires, and we are going to avoid shoving these into the back. See, I fixed this side on time, where this tire is perfect, but again, these tires are kind of bald. It is time for something new. Or if anybody has a set they want to trade, I would love to go back to 20x12s. I really just, the 22s are not for me. I liked the wheels at first. They're complete. They have a little bit of marking on them, but again, I do like that they have the metal valve stems, but oh shit, that's gonna piss me off. These are not cheap headlights either. Fucking, these are like $500 headlights. We'll have to figure that issue out eventually as well. But Bertha's going to get a little bit more money thrown at her. We are going to go through, work on this welding shit a little bit. So, like, I want to make sure that this isn't up against it. I want to make a square frame, box it on wood, and then have it supported by the bed. So, we'll take care of that. Well, videos are all over the place. That guy's video, this got its video, this has its own video. Holy goodness. All right, so we're going to get out of here and take that for a test drive, show you guys how she does. Obviously, you know, we got to drive it and see how she does. The main thing, like, I know it's going to run and everything. I know it's going to be reliable, but, you know, the problem is that fucking diff seal. Look, I left the key in it. All right, 3 pedals. Wow, I haven't driven one of them in a while. What's it like driving a manual? You guys know I don't know how to drive a stick. I don't exactly know where to put you guys. Also would help if I knew how to drive. Yeah, I'm already fucking up. Went from 2nd to 5th right away. Takes a lot of getting used to. There we go. She sounds nice. It's just kind of nippy outside, so it's like... I hear clicking, but I think that's because of all the shit that's in here. So this has 4K springs. So we can, in theory, go that that high up, but like I said, we're just gonna give it a nice little baseline test, make sure that we don't have any leaks. I'll let Josh be the one to decide on beating on it if he wants. Also, if you see in the gauge there, the grid heater is going to cycle no matter how fast we go for the first 3 minutes because the speedo doesn't work. We still got to figure that out with the NV5600 swap. Well, I'm going to admit my defeat now. Everything is brand new. I don't know what to say at this point. I don't know what to tell him. That's a big old puddle. I'm going to take it back to the shop. I'm going to park it. And this is literally the only thing wrong with the truck. And I don't know what to tell him. It's a brand new seal, brand new yoke, correct yoke. I mean, everything else that I've done is perfect. It's done. It's just this rear end is, I don't know. 3rd gens. Never an issue. 2nd gens. It has that weird coned thing that goes into, like, it's that circular thing. It goes into the seal. Everything's proper. I made sure that this one's in that one. Everything's good. It wasn't rushed. I don't know. Truck runs good though. That's the thing. Truck runs really good. Fires right up everything. Obviously not going to drive it like that. I'm going to get it back and figure it out. Sucks. This truck runs really good. I mean, Idle's right at 750, just under. I'm gonna wait for that guy. Let him go. Keep in mind it is a dual disc, so you gotta really hit it. Wait for everyone to go. Hands-free camera mount. See if I can hit third. Glad I didn't make it all the way home. I wanted to test it, and it's not working. It is not a locking rear end though, so not a locking rear. So we could throw a locker in it, but yeah, that's the thing with the Valair dual disc too. Like when you let the clutch out, you got to be ready to go. You can't just like pussyfoot around. If you do, it's gonna bog or it's gonna stall and it's gonna make your ride terrible. Other than that, that was a big old puddle too. It's not even like it was a little bit. It didn't leak coming out of the shop. I drove it around, everything was good. I got it to highway, speed, and then, fuck. Look at that, and off, look, and to prove it, fires up, shuts down. You fix one issue, and then 50 other issues show themselves up. Just kidding, only one issue shows up, but still.